What's the deal, everybody? Machiavelli Mills TV. Y'all hit that like button and hit the subscribe button as well. Y'all hitting the like button, it really helps out my videos and helps me get more into the YouTube algorithm, so I appreciate y'all doing that. So let's get straight to it. Dwight Howard was on a podcast with Ray Daniels, and the conversation came up about Shaq's disrespect of Dwight Howard over the years and where Shaq's problems initiate, where they begin, and all of that type of stuff, right? And so Dwight was voicing his frustration with it, and talking about how, like, I've never said nothing bad about Shaq. I've never tried to downplay him in any way, but he always try to downplay Dwight every chance he gets. And what it's really about is that Superman nickname and the Superman persona. For those who don't know, Shaq used to call himself the Man of Steel, Superman. He had the Superman emblem tattooed on his bicep. Shaq, without question, is the most dominant force the NBA has ever seen, in the modern era at least. Like, he's the most dominant thing I've ever seen. Physically, all of that, like, as a big man, his scoring ability, how you could not stop him. The only way to stop him was to foul him. He was incredible to watch, phenomenal to watch, especially during that Lakers three-peat. Like, it was crazy, right? But anyway, with all that being said, Shaq is a hater at times. He can be very childish. He can be very silly and can be obnoxious. And the height of his obnoxious behavior came when Dwight Howard started to take on the Superman persona during the dunk contest, right? When Dwight participated in the NBA dunk contest. And since then, Shaq has been adamant with trashing Dwight Howard. And I think it's lame. Dwight is one of the, like, for real, he's a top 75 player all time, in my opinion. He should be on the top 75 list. What he was doing in Orlando was crazy. And Shaq knows Orlando's a small market team. He was in Orlando. But what Dwight was doing before that back injury was crazy. And what's crazy is he never really developed the real post game and still was dominant. Like, what, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, 8-time NBA All-Star, was used to be putting up 30 and 20. It was crazy, super athletic, as you can see him participating in the dunk contest. But Shaq would go out of his way to hate on him. Like, so much so, it wasn't just him, like, he wasn't doing the JaVale McGee, putting him on Shaq and a fool. Even later in his career, even whenever Dwight would do something, he would try to act like it wasn't that big. But when he won a championship with the LA Lakers during his second stint in LA in 2020, you got Shaq talking about, that don't count, that don't mean nothing to me. He was just a dude on the team. He ain't do nothing. He wasn't doing nothing. He was a buster on the team, which is very, is false, one. Yeah, Dwight wasn't Orlando Dwight. He wasn't putting up Orlando Dwight numbers, but they wouldn't have beat the Denver Nuggets without Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard was the primary defender of Nikola Jokic. And we see how how his offensive game is outstanding. And Dwight Howard was containing him in the best way possible and, holding it down for it. And they wouldn't have won that series and went on to win the NBA Finals, NBA Championship, without Dwight there. But you got Shaq acting like he ain't nothing, like he next to nothing, like he garbage. Like Shaq is out here acting like Dwight was goddamn Othello Harrington. No disrespect to Othello. I know it's gonna be disrespectful when I'm saying that. He acting like Dwight was Samaki Walker. You feel me? Like Dwight was Kwame Brown. Let me just Kwame Brown. He acting like Dwight was damn Jerron and Jason Collins. He acting like Dwight Howard was DJ Benga. Are you out of your mind, dog? Like, it's silly. And, after Dwight voiced his frustrations with how Shaq has been picking with him and all of that, because every man got a breaking point. Dwight is a jovial person, he's always smiling, and he spoke about that in the podcast. And that's one of the reasons why people tried to pick with him. Oh, he smiled too much, this, that, and the third. Magic Johnson smiled all the time on the court and still was a killer. But for some reason, when Dwight smiled, it came across as him being soft. You know what I mean? And to me, I think that's very unfair to him because he was an absolute dog. You don't win 3 Defensive Player of the Year, especially during that time. He wasn't getting them Rudy Gobert Defensive Player of the Years. He was out here shutting stuff down easily and abusing centers in the league. You don't do that with just being a soft dude. Like, come on, man. That don't make no sense. You know, but yeah, like when Dwight spoke about Shaq picking with him and all of that, Shaq goes on Twitter or X, whatever you call it, saying Dwight just too sensitive. You sensitive as hell. You're sensitive ass. Shaq is super sensitive. He can't be talking about nobody being sensitive, dog. Like if you say something to him that he don't agree with, he ready to throw. I mean, he going low. He taking it to hell. You can say something that's not even really disrespectful to him, and he gonna go to hell with you. Ask Charles Barkley. You feel me? Charles Barkley, Kenny Smith, them on the set. Shaq does that quite often. And it's crazy because he can joke at you, joke with you, and play jokes on you and say whatever he want to say to you. But the moment you say something to him, he ready to act like he ready to fight, or he act like, all hell about to break loose now that you didn't say something to him. Like, come on, dog. Like, so he should be the last person calling somebody sensitive. You know what I mean? And back to this point about him, and I know y'all gonna get mad when I say this. I don't give a damn though. When people were calling Dwight soft and stuff, because he's jovial and playful, I'm gonna be real. Kobe Bryant led the charge with Dwight Howard being called soft. When after he left LA and went to the Houston Rockets, him and Kobe got into a back and forth, right? And Kobe was calling him soft and he acting like he was a punk and all of that. And Dwight put up like 17, 18, and 12 or something like that in LA with a terrible back. He didn't even like his back. Did he have back surgery at that point? Like his back was all messed up and still was giving him a double after being injured. I don't even know if he had, did he had a back surgery yet at that point? We had an injured back and still was putting up what would be respectable numbers for most centers. So he's far from soft. Kobe just didn't like that Dwight was not, I guess, a person that he felt would be locked in the gym all day long because that's who Kobe Bryant was. And when he decided to leave LA, and let's be for real, man, I don't care what nobody say, that environment that I guess he was in, I'm assuming him and Kobe did not see eye to eye because Kobe felt like his work ethic was not where his was. You know what I mean? And he felt like Dwight was too playful or something in his demeanor. I think Jalen Rose mentioned that when Dwight came to LA, he hit Kobe up about where to hang out and stuff like that. And Kobe didn't like that. And basically was like, yo, this mug, he ain't serious. He ain't serious about this. And listen, I can't say he's not serious because Kobe was not a person to party. He didn't hang out publicly. He didn't do that. But just because you don't do that, don't mean everybody else has to live that life, a reclusive, just locked in the gym life. Everybody's different. Allen Iverson went to the clubs all the time. You knew when he went on that court, he was going to give you them numbers. He was going to give you 30. He was going to go crazy. He hung out a lot. It's dudes that hung out. Magic Johnson was all about the nightlife. But when he got on that court, you know it was going to be showtime. He was going to get the job done. You know what I mean? So Deion Sanders, he kicked it as an athlete. Kicked it a lot. He didn't smoke and drink, but he kicked it all the time. But he was a game-changing athlete, right? And so I don't think Dwight didn't bring it on the court. You know what I mean? I think he brought it. It was just he was injured. But I think him and Kobe never got along since that moment when he asked where to hang out at and stuff like that when he first came to LA. And Dwight was a young dude. He was fairly young. And he liked to hang out. But that don't mean he wasn't going to go hard on the court. I think from that point, Kobe didn't like how Dwight came to LA asking that question. Kobe wanted him to ask him, what time can we get in the gym together? And maybe it would have got to that point. But I think when Kobe probably showed that he was pissed off about that, they didn't mesh at all. And Dwight was like, yeah, I'm finna get up out of here. And after when he left, Kobe looked at Dwight as a person who was soft for leaving that situation. And then it was open season on Dwight from every angle. Everybody was looking at him like, oh, he's soft, yada, yada, yada. I remember around a little bit after that, Kevin Garnett even tried to act like he was going to try to punk Dwight or call him soft, and KG would have got folded up. I told y'all, man, KG is a phenomenal basketball player. He's so fake tough. Like he's so I'm almost about to do something all the time. Antonio McDyess, he didn't want no parts of big Antonio McDyess. Big McDyess was finna get it, put them hammers on that boy. He didn't want no problems with it, with Antonio McDyess. And a few other people. Like he didn't want to go to war with some lot of dudes, man. He just talk crazy. That's why Kenyon Martin called KG a porch puppy. He gonna talk crazy, he ain't gonna come off that porch though. You know what I'm saying? But phenomenal basketball player though, right? But anyway, Dwight, open season became on Dwight after his stint in LA. But Shaq started piling on Dwight when he was originally in Orlando. And it was all about that damn Superman name, which is Childish. But I do believe Dwight gets a lot of flack unnecessarily at times. Yeah, he didn't develop the post game that many people wanted him to have. He didn't develop the post moves per se. I don't know if that was really in his repertoire. If he tried and he couldn't fulfill that void. But for what he was, Dwight Howard was a dominant player in Orlando with the Orlando Magic. He's a Hall of Fame player, 3 Defensive Player of the Years, 8-time All-Star, Hall of Fame without question. He was a key piece to a championship run with the 2020 LA Lakers, and he should be respected as such. Shaq continuously tries to belittle that man and act like that man is a crumb or a peon. And yeah, just because yes, Shaq is more legendary than Dwight, but Dwight is a legend in his own right as well. And you shouldn't like talking down to him because Shaq wouldn't even talk like this about damn, I don't know. I'm trying to think of somebody else who's a lesser Dwight Howard. I'm trying to think of somebody else. It's Shaq try to pick with that man. You know, because he felt like he's soft and he can do that, and Dwight smiles a lot. And I just feel like it's weak on Shaq's part to be doing that. That's why Dwight say, you know what? We can get in the ring and we can box it out. We can scrap. You feel me? We can box it out, and we can scrap. Shaq ain't gonna do that though. He not. You know, I don't think Shaq can fight like that anyway. Because Sir Charles looked like Charles Barkley finna whoop on Shaq that day when him and Shaq got into it when Charles was playing with the Houston Rockets. You know, was that when he was with the Rockets? Yeah, I think it was with the Rockets. Yeah. But yeah, man. And I know some people gonna say, well, what do Shaq gotta hate on Dwight for? Shaq, the most dominant big man of all time. Listen, you can be legendary and still throw salt and hate on people who are less legendary than you because you don't like something they did, or you feel like he stole your moniker. People were calling him the Man of Steel. He pulled off the Superman. He pulled off his jersey during the dunk contest, had the Superman costume underneath. And what's crazy is Shaq's colleague, Kenny Smith, was like, he is Superman. He's Superman. He got the physique just like a Superman. He the Man of Steel. Kenny Smith was co-signing it. He don't get mad at Kenny for co-signing that when Dwight Howard first performed in the dunk contest, first participated in the dunk contest. So I just think it's very, it's lame. It's clowned out for Shaq to be acting like this. And I feel like the flack that Dwight Howard gets is very unnecessary. And Shaq started it off. Then when Dwight played with Kobe, and then he left and went to Houston, and when Kobe called him soft, everybody else felt like it was open season on him and tried to act like they was following suit behind that, including one Kevin Garnett. Now some of y'all gonna be like, oh, you hate Kobe because you brought that up. Y'all know I ain't lying when I brought that up, dog. Y'all know when Cole called him soft, it became open season for real. Open season for people to feel like they can try to play with him in certain manners, because Cole's stature and status and in the game of basketball, man. So in the NBA period. But yeah, man, Machiavelli Mills TV. Peace.